Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Baceno, editor of Telecoms.com, and I'm delighted to be here on the second day of Mobile World Congress at the Tecnotree stand. And we're going to have a panel where we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and maybe the technological perspectives on it. So we've been having a little chat in advance, and you've all got your different experiences and your different strategies. So I'm just going to ask a really open question to start with, which is just tell me about your professional experiences with diversity, equity, inclusion, how you approach it in your company, and that sort of thing. I'll hand the mic over to you. And if you could introduce yourself.
Yes, of course. I'm Natali Delic. I'm Chief Strategy and Digital Officer in Telekom Srbija. Shall I let everyone introduce or just answer now?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So it's really interesting topic. We are talking about this for many years. But before we were talking about diversity and inclusion without that digital prefix. And I think that it's important to, I want to share a little bit that our company is very inclusive right now, which I think it's good basis for next step. I mean, we are not talking anymore about the inclusion of women. We have more than 50% in the board of women. We have more than 50% in managers and in employees, a lot in technical division, in IT divisions, which is very, very important. We have a very diverse workforce. We have many people who are in their 50s and 60s, so they are still very productive, and we are trying to make them productive. And I think that on that perspective, we are very good company to really now. So far, we can say that we succeeded in really addressing some workforce challenges that some other companies had. But with digital and creating actually digital DNA of the company, this has good and bad sides. And I think that we need to be aware that as leaders, we are all for growth and innovation. We see such a great potential for our companies from all these new technologies, and we are witnessing them these 2 days here in MWC. And we are trying to install this in the workforce. We want to push this and our workforce in this direction. But if we are talking about AI specifically, this diversity that we are having in age, for instance, in experience, is creating a challenge. We see a lot of resistance, and I think that we have to understand that becoming digital and having really digital culture will require from us leader a lot of effort, a lot of into engaging in including all the different parts of organization, because digital is not belonging to IT and technology anymore. Digital is belonging to everyone. And to harness this potential, we need to really transform our organization and our workforce. And I think this is the ultimate challenge of leadership in corporations, in big corporations now, how to actually transform those who are resistant to advocates of new technologies in order to really become more efficient, to have better operations inside, but also to be able to offer this outside as new services, as one hyper-personalized experience, better quality of service, more like services according to the needs, where someone wants them and how they want to consume them. So this is for me. Now I will pass on to Eva, and later I will talk more about it.
Thank you. And I also have to say that I envy your numbers. So I'm Eva Zanin, and I'm the Global Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Manager of Deutsche Telecom. And a little bit about me. So I'm based in the HR function of the company. However, I'm not just working on diversity, just particularly at HR. I'm penetrating really the work of IT, data analytics, and product design. And the reason why I'm doing so, the reason why we at Deutsche Telekom consider diversity to be crucial is because of our purpose. So we are invested in connecting your worlds, which means that we consider tech to be a natural extension of our our lives, of who we are, and enabling us to live our best lives regardless of our backgrounds or diverse abilities. So when it comes to product design, when it comes to IT, for example, in employment, it really gives us plenty of space to develop. And just as you have mentioned, diversity per se is not just and only about including women in the workforce, in leadership. Of course, that's a crucial thing. But we rather see diversity coming in its all 7 dimensions of age, religion, abilities, and whatnot. And what we are invested in is to focus on each and every perspective and see how we can enable those perspectives entering the digital world, because we know that it's beneficial for all. So just like you mentioned, for example, the senior group, seniors' involvement in the employment is as crucial as providing access for them through the digital spaces to everyday life necessities, such as, for example, healthcare. So when you go and perhaps have some time to visit our booth at Deutsche Telecom, I would highly recommend you guys to see what our Greek colleagues have come up with, which is to provide telemedicine opportunities for people who are living on the Greek islands and not necessarily having the possibility for quick medical access. And that absolutely works for elderly because they need the prescriptions, they need the analysis quite quick and straightforward. But this is just like one example of the many.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eva. And Natalie, I think you have a wealth of experience, dealing with certain strategic issues. I myself am Prianca Ravichander. I head marketing for Tecnotree, as well as our B2B2X monetization platform called Tecnotree Moments. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is definitely a special subject for Tecnotree. We were recently regarded by the Nordic Diversity Business Index as a top-performing mid-cap company, and the reason for that is going to be a couple of things. We work across all markets, and by that it's not just about the time zones, but also different kinds of religious calendars that we have to incorporate in our cycles to deliver to our customers, and they're delivering in a Shia calendar from India or from Latin America or from other locations. And how do you actually marry these things and be sensitive to people's ability to contribute? And I think the conversation that we've been seeing on diversity, equity, inclusion, it's obviously evolved over hundreds of years. And it used to be more of a patient conversation that people used to have with each other. But today there's no time, to be patient, because, you have models, AI/ML models today that come built with biases that can actually hurt sentiments in real time without people who have the ability to protect themselves suffering from this on a daily basis. So you have today a whole industry of, let's say, actors or creators that just become stock footage, for without protecting their rights, without protecting their ability to actually, have a living and a livelihood. And technology today is changing so fast that it's very important for vendors like Tecnotree that support operators like yourselves to make sure that when you are actually touching customers, you're doing it in a trusted, well-governed, transparent, explainable, and an inclusive way. And in fact, what we've actually been able to do as Tecnotree is, of course, we've got a lot of internal focused policies related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. But our real focus is to make sure that our customers and customers are actually able to translate their services and products in the same manner and deliver a holistic and sustainable experience, right? And I think Tecnotree today, we've got 137 different patents specifically focused on hyper-personalization, photo AI, and other things, but a whole body of work, proprietary technology related to trust, governance, and embedding these governance models in our AI across our digital touch points. And when we talk about channel personalization, we don't mean just targeting for revenue growth or targeting for engagement or targeting for quick leads. I think what we're trying to say is that we want it to be sustainable growth, which is trusted growth, and I think that's been our focus, and it's really great that Tecnotree has been recognized for having a keen focus on our ESG goals and our sustainability overall.
Great, thank you all. That's fascinating. I think my feeling is that the whole subject of diversity, equity, and inclusion's getting more sophisticated, and the way you've described it, sort of the business case of it, as well as the moral case, I think is quite compelling. We only have time for one more follow-up question, but I was just wondering if you've got any advice on a successful DE&I strategy that you could give to our audience. I'll start with you again, if that's okay.
Well, I think that it is quite known to everyone, but we need to repeat it all the time. One thing is towards customers, and Prianca said a lot about that, and we need to ensure that we have trusted relationship with them when we are offering them these new services. And there is a big challenge because we see the potential, we all see the potential, we are in technology, we know how good it can be. We are all technology for the people, human-centered technology, but society in general, public opinion is not so much inclined to technology all the time, especially with AI. So let's say one example which we see quite often, especially with digital native companies, all the time having articles about reducing their workforce. And we know that it is because of efficiencies that are now built because of AI and automation. But the problem is that we are all the time speaking in that way. One advice to all the media, let's talk about all the new job descriptions that had to be created, all the new job positions that had to be created, which are not only technology ones, because you need a lot of other people in order to really have AI successful. It's not only IT people in the background. Let's talk a little bit more in the media about new opportunities that this brings for the jobs. Because right now, someone who is a leader in corporation has to deal with fear from losing job whenever we are talking about automation. And I'm spending a lot of energy with my teams to explain that they need to learn more, new things, and we are creating programs to upskill them, to reskill people, because we need humans. AI does not it does not mean we don't need humans. We just need to teach our workforce how to work alongside AI. But we are not spending enough time in media talking about that. We are all the time talking about reducing labor and workforce and P&L that is a result from it. So my advice is, let's change a little bit the focus. Let's cover it with positive things, not only with negative when we talk about it.
Thank you. So you asked what a successful diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy would look like. And my response is, first of all, it should be open, cross-functional. It should detach itself from being a human relations subject and more a business subject. So a good diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy derives from a business case and adds to the business case. And with everything that it does, it engages the different perspectives of the customers and brings that directly to the experience design part of whatever an enterprise is doing to create value for the customers who we actually are for. And I would also add on the background that for maintaining the stability of whatever we are engaged in diversity, we need a great policy base, and we need a substantial, clear, and accessible data set to work on. That's that.
No, I think I think a lot has been covered, and I did mention, when we're looking at delivering value to our customers, taking a very decentralized decision-making approach and perspective becomes quite important. It's not just about a few pockets of decision makers in key locations. It's not about where the money comes from or where the money is coming from. I think the conversation has to be much more broader than that. And you see this happening. So today in Tecnotree, we have a very decentralized sort of operating model across all the geographies. We are represented in 13 different geographies, close to 50 different nationalities that are a part of our company today, speaking 20 different languages. And how do we actually cater to 70 different countries, 90 different operators, and 1 billion subscribers with just 1,000 people, and such a diverse, coming from such a diverse set of backgrounds. And it's really because of this kind of decentralized structure of decision making. It's about it's a hybrid model. It's not about obviously coming to office is definitely important, but we have a very, very flexible sort of work from home model that incorporates specific needs of employees that might need to sort of take extra care for their kids or extra care for dependents in their families, and trying to work that in to our operating model for our customers, and not being able to compromise on the final product that we're actually delivering, while keeping in mind a highly decentralized, highly inclusive model of operating. And it really comes from the decentralization of this decision intelligence across our platform of operating throughout the world. And I think our focus has always been on those kinds of models of working. We never really sort of have a very myopic approach with respect to a specific customer, a specific region, or a specific culture of operating. And we really try to cross-functional. We try to forge cross-functional partnerships within our organization, within industry verticals, within IT versus business versus HR or other functions, and make sure that there's a good amount of overlap between the different kinds of operating models. So I think that's what's been helpful for us.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've taken from hearing all the excellent advice the three of you have offered is especially the inclusion part of it. Maybe sometimes, because it's the last word of the three, it gets a bit overlooked, but including as many people as possible in the workforce obviously makes sense on so many levels. So yeah, so that's really good to hear. All right, well, we've run out of time, I'm afraid, but thank you, all three of you, for your excellent contributions, and thank you once more to Tecnotree for hosting this panel.
Thank you so much.